Imagine a man standing at the absolute peak of the sporting world, holding a gold trophy while millions chant his name, yet inside, he is so hollowed out by darkness that he cannot even force himself to get out of bed. This isn't a fictional drama, it is the harrowing reality for Penrith Panthers mastermind Ivan Cleary, who recently peeled back the curtain on a life defined by secret agony. While the world saw a coaching titan, his wife Rebecca was watching a man crumble into a shadow of himself, battling a depression so deep it threatened to end his career before the legendary three-peat even began. How does a man lead a dynasty when he can't even lead his own spirit toward the light of a new day? The answer lies in a heartbreaking confession that changes everything we thought we knew about the NRL's most successful family. Before we dive into the emotional storm that nearly broke the Cleary household, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell to stay updated on all the latest NRL insights. This is a story of resilience that goes far beyond the footy field, and you won't want to miss a single detail of how the Panthers' empire was almost built on a foundation of total collapse. Are you ready to see the side of Ivan the cameras never captured? Let's get into the grit behind the glory. This is Aussie Sports Central. The pressure of the NRL is often described as a pressure cooker, but for Ivan Cleary, it became a sensory deprivation chamber where the only sound was the echoing roar of perceived failure. Returning to the Panthers in 2019 was supposed to be a homecoming, a chance to coach his son Nathan and finish what he started years prior. Instead, the season began with a catastrophic slump that saw the team languishing at the bottom of the ladder, sparking a media-feeding frenzy that targeted not just Ivan's tactics, but his integrity. Behind the closed doors of the Cleary home, the stoic mask Ivan wore at press conferences would slide off, revealing a man paralyzed by the weight of the world. He confesses that the guilt of potentially ruining Nathan's career by being a subpar coach was the heaviest burden of all, leading to mornings where the simple act of standing up felt like climbing Mount Everest. In the middle of this domestic battlefield stood Rebecca Cleary, the silent anchor who had navigated the highs and lows of Ivan's journeyman career for decades. She wasn't just watching a coach lose games, she was watching her husband lose his soul to a clinical darkness that no amount of film study could fix. Rebecca's role shifted from supportive spouse to a desperate lifeline as she realized that Ivan was no longer just stressed, he was drowning. It was her intervention, a mix of tough love and unwavering empathy, that finally forced the four-time premiership winner to admit the unthinkable: he needed professional help. This moment of surrender was the true turning point for the Penrith dynasty, yet it remained a guarded secret for years, hidden behind the clinical efficiency of the Panthers' rise to dominance and their eventual historic run. The surprise for many fans is the revelation that Ivan actually began taking antidepressants during the very period the Panthers began their ascent to the top. It's a jarring contrast to the image of the Iceman we see on the sidelines, showing that his tactical brilliance was being forged in a furnace of mental health struggles. Ivan describes the messy exit from the West Tigers as a catalyst that left him feeling like a fraud, a sentiment that only worsened when Penrith struggled early on. He admits that if the 2020 season hadn't resulted in immediate success, he was prepared to walk away from rugby league forever, convinced he was the wrong man for the job and a liability to his son's future. The stakes weren't just about points on a scoreboard, they were about the survival of a father-son relationship under the harshest spotlight in Australian sport. Aussie Sports Central. As the Panthers started winning, the external narrative shifted to their invincibility, but the internal struggle evolved into a complex family dynamic that Rebecca found increasingly difficult to stomach. She famously hated the period when Ivan coached against Nathan during his Tigers tenure, finding the split loyalty to be an emotional tax that no family should have to pay. Now, with younger son Jet Cleary forging his own path at the Warriors, the nightmare of a divided household looms once again, threatening to reopen old wounds. Ivan's confession highlights that while the fans cheer for the Cleary dynasty, the architect of that dynasty is constantly weighing the cost of his professional ambitions against the peace of his wife and the individual growth of his children. It is a balancing act performed on a razor-thin wire, where one wrong move could shatter the very family unit they've worked so hard to protect. The storytelling of the Cleary era is often focused on Nathan's clutch plays, but Ivan reveals that his own vulnerability has become his greatest coaching tool. By opening up to his players about his depression and the tears shared in private, he has fostered a culture of emotional intelligence that is rare in the hyper-masculine world of professional sports. He realized that by hiding his pain, he was teaching his players to do the same, which only led to burnout and brittle performances under pressure. This shift in philosophy, moving from a stoic general to an authentic leader, is perhaps the secret ingredient to Penrith's sustained success. They aren't just physically tougher than their opponents, they are emotionally more resilient because their leader showed them that it's okay to break as long as you have the courage to ask for help to rebuild. However, the sad confession isn't just about the past, it's a warning for the future of the game. Ivan's transparency about his mental health serves as a stark reminder that the men we idolize as tactical geniuses are often fighting battles that would break the average person. The unrelenting scrutiny of social media and the 24-hour news cycle means that coaches never truly go home. The criticism follows them into their living rooms and onto their pillows. Rebecca's struggle to watch her husband and sons be dissected by the public is a perspective rarely heard in NRL circles, yet it is the most human element of the entire Penrith story. It begs the question, how much longer can Ivan maintain this level of intensity before the cost to his personal life becomes too great to bear? As we look toward the 2026 season, the shadows of these struggles still linger, even amidst the hardware and the history. Ivan admits that he is out of his comfort zone sharing these stories, but he does so in hopes of saving other men who feel trapped in the same darkness he once inhabited. The cliffhanger for the Panthers isn't just about whether they can win another title, but whether the family at the heart of the club can withstand the next wave of pressure as Jet rises and Nathan's legacy grows. The Viceman may have a heart of gold, but we now know it has been cracked and mended more times than anyone realized. The insight into his marriage and his mental state proves that the greatest victories in Ivan Cleary's life didn't happen at ANZ Stadium. They happened in the quiet, desperate moments when he chose to keep fighting for himself and his family. Aussie Sports Central. Would you like me to create a breakdown of the specific recruitment strategies Ivan's wife Rebecca influenced, like the signing of Luke Garner? This video provides a first-hand account of Ivan Cleary discussing the mental health challenges and personal struggles he faced while coaching the Panthers.